Okay, good afternoon, Professor. My name is William Fabricio Robles Coraquilia. Today I'm going to talk about presuppositions. Okay, for begin this topic, it's important to remember what is pragmatics. Okay, pragmatics is the branch of linguistics dealing with the language in use and the context in which it's used. It includes theses, the taking of turns in conversations, the text organizations, presuppositions, and implicature. Okay, as you can see in this picture, you see the all subjects that you need to learn properly English, such as phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics, which is the most important in order to understand the use of real English. Okay, from this, we can say that pragmatics study every reason of language why, and also represents the real use of English on speakers. Okay, and pragmatic is the study of the relationship between linguistic forms and the user of those forms. Okay, from this I will explain you what is presuppositions. Okay, presupposition is something the speaker assumes to be the case prior to making an utterance. In other words, presuppositions is something that the speaker assumes to be true. Okay, with the objective to understand more this, I select these pictures in which say, what's the opposite of presuppositions? Okay, the opposite of presupposition is reality, knowledge, disbelief, facts, certainty, and calculations. Okay, the magic of presupposition is serve to avoid yes or no, not answers, and also let the speaker have a long conversation because avoid I just mentioned avoid the yes or no answers, and also serve to persuade because you give options, you try to do a long conversation. Okay, and similar word for presuppositions is assumptions, presumptions, premise, postulate, thesis, surmise, conjectures, and postulations. Okay, another topic is entertainment. Okay, entertainment is something logical follows from what is asserted in utterance. Entertainment is represents the natural logic, and the process and communicative is less discussed. Okay, in order to understand more these two topics, I prepared these examples. Okay, Fabricio's moms bought 5 gamer computers. Okay, the presuppositions in this sentence is Fabricio exists, Fabricio has a mom, Fabricio's mom has a lot of money, Fabricio's mom loves video games, and Fabricio's mom has 5 sons who are gamers. And these are my presuppositions when I read this sentence. Okay, the entailments are Fabricio's mom bought something, Fabricio's mom has 5 technological things, Fabricio's mom bought 5 computers, Fabricio's mom's logical 2 computers or more. Okay, entailments is the logical things that I come to my mind when I read the sentence. Okay, it's not presuppositions. Okay, presuppositions is treated as a relation between 2 propositions, which can be represented by letter P and Q, and these symbols, this means presuppose. It means relationship. Okay, for example, Fabricio's car is luxurious is represented by letter P. Fabricio has a car is represented by letter Q. Okay, the letter C this means the relationship or the P presupposes Q. Okay, another property that exists in this process is constantly under negation. When the sentence changes in negative form. For example, Fabricio car is not luxurious. And Fabricio, and the second one is Fabricio has a car. So in this case, the sentence number A continue or keeping presuppose the letter B, because the fact that the Fabrice's car is not luxurious doesn't change the relation with the Fabricio has a car. Okay, the next topic is types of presuppositions. Okay, you know, the presupposition has been associated with the use of large number of words, phrases, and structures. Also, it's important to know that we consider potential presuppositions which can only become actual presuppositions in context with speakers. For instance, Fabricio says that the president of Ecuador is Lenin Moreno. Okay, our presuppositions is there is someone called Fabricio, there is a president of Ecuador. Okay, these are our potential presuppositions. Okay, the first is existential presuppositions. Okay, a speaker is committed to the existence of the entity's name, not only in a possessive constructions, but in any definite noun phrase. Okay, when I talk about possessive constructions, is for example your computer, Fabricio house has an enormous garden. Okay, you can recognize that existential presuppositions because you can understand that Fabricio house has an enormous garden, or maybe you read the expression your computer, it represents that you have a computer. This person have a computer. Okay, the definite noun phrase, for example, the president of Chevrolet company is so annoying. Okay, these existential presuppositions is there is a person who is the president of Chevrolet company. Okay, exists one person that is the president of Chevrolet. Okay, the next type is factic presupposition. The factic presupposition. In this type, it will be considered as a fact, and also in this phrase or in this conversation, certain verbs or constructions indicate that something is a fact. For example, the verbs and expressions know, realize, regret, glad, be aware, or ought. For example, we regret telling him. Our presupposition in this sentence is we told him. Another example is he didn't realize that Carlos was so sad. So our factual presupposition is Carlos was so sad. Or the last one example is I wasn't aware that he made the same homework. So our factual presupposition is he made the same homework. Okay, it's related to the facts. Okay, these verbs represent facts. Okay, the next one is lexical presupposition, and in these lexical presuppositions represent assumption that is used in one word. The speaker can act as if another non-asserted meaning will be understood. For example, you can see in this picture, she sneezed again. The presupposition is she sneezed before. Okay, again represent that these actions it make or it do before. Okay, represent repetitions. Lexical items are start, stop, again, have presupposition inside. For example, the sentence number A, he stopped buying new cars. So it represents that he used to buy new cars. See, he used to buy new cars is our presupposition. Okay, and another example is they start doing exercise. Okay, it means that they didn't do exercise before. Okay, in this way, we can understand what represents or what is lexical presupposition. Okay, the next type is a structural presupposition. Okay, In structural presupposition is the assumption associated with the use of certain words and phrase. In this case, W questions. Okay, when we use these types of W questions as a speakers, we presuppose something that was real. For example, when did she buy it? Our presupposition in this question is she bought it. Another example is why did he make a mistake? Okay, our presupposition in this question is he made a mistake. For the reason someone do the question why, or this last sentence is when did she lose her job? So in these questions, our presupposition is she lost her job for the reason someone do this question. Okay, the next type is non-factive presupposition. Okay, is one that is assumed not to be true. Okay, in this case, it uses verbs such as dream, pretend, imagine. For example, I dreamed that I achieved C2 level in English language, but it's only a presupposition because I didn't achieve C2 level. Okay, this type of verb represents that something is not true yet. For example, my mom imagined that we were in New York. Okay, our presupposition in this part is we were not in New York. And another example is I pretend to know French, but the reality is I don't know French. Okay, to remember the non-factive presuppositions use these types of verbs: dream, imagine, and pretend. Okay, the next is counterfactual presuppositions. Okay, meaning that what is presupposed is not only not true, but is the opposite of what is true or contrary to the facts. Okay, in order to recognize these presuppositions is important to know second conditional and third conditional. Okay, for example, as you can see in this picture, conditional sentences have two clauses: conditions and results. Okay, in order to understand this presupposition is important to remember what is second conditional. Okay, second conditional, we use a second conditional to express a present or future condition which is imaginary, contrary to the facts, impossible or improbable. Okay, for example, if I was as rich as Bill Gates, I wouldn't work. Or another example, we would win more matches if we trained harder. Okay, in this sentence you recognize the contrary to the facts. Okay, for example, in this sentence, we win more match if we train harder is because we don't train enough. With zero conditional, we use zero conditional to talk about something which didn't happen in the past and its results which are imaginary. For example, see if you had gone to the concert, you would have enjoyed it. Okay, or for example, see if you had lived in 1996, I would have gone to college by horse. Okay, so these types of structures and sentence represents the counterfactual presuppositions. Okay, and in order to summarize these topics that I just mentioned, I prepare a summary table. Okay, you can see in this part of the table a type, next an example, and the last one a presupposition. For example, existential, the example is the X. This means that the X exists. It represents something that exists in this world. Okay, factive, I regret leaving. So the presupposition in this, when I read this sentence, is I left. The non-factive, he pretends to be happy. So in this, or presupposition, when I read this sentence with this verb that help to recognize non-factive, presupposition is he wasn't happy. Okay, the next is lexical. For example, he managed to escape. Or presupposition when I read this example is he tried to escape. Okay, and the next one is structural. For example, okay, in structural, remember that we need to use W questions in order to assume the reality. For example, when did she die? So our presupposition is that this person, in this case, she really die. Okay. The last one is counterfactual. Is the use of conditionals. For example, if I weren't ill, but our presupposition is that this person is ill. In this case, I am ill. Okay. Okay, that's all for this presentation. I hope that you can understand all of these topics. Thank you.